Okay, let's get started. Hi, folks. It's great to see you all today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this year's Teach CUNY Day. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Luke Waltzer. I'm Director of the Teaching and Learning Center here at the Graduate Center. And it's just great to see you all here for our day of celebrating and discussing teaching at CUNY. I'd like to start first by expressing my gratitude to Interim Vice Chancellor Christopher Rosa from CUNY's Central Office of Student Affairs, who's sponsored this event. Vice Chancellor Rosa's support and Executive Vice Chancellor Vita Rabinowitz's presence here represent acknowledgement from CUNY's Central Office of the centrality of the teaching that Graduate Center students do to the intellectual life of this university. So it's very great that they're here to acknowledge the value, the contributions that GC students make across CUNY's campuses, and we're deeply appreciative. Before getting into the program, I want to speak for a few moments about the spirit in which this event was conceived and its connection to the way that we've built our programming at the Teaching and Learning Center for the past 24 months. At the TLC, we think of both pedagogy and professional development as ongoing processes that are strengthened when they're imagined as collective endeavors built in dialogue with a community or communities of practice. Becoming an academic can be a solitary pursuit. We research, we write, we design our courses, we teach our courses. Indeed, many of us are attracted to this work because of the autonomy that it allows, when we take great pleasure in having time alone to think and to write. But this autonomy can also be isolating at times. And as we navigate our teaching, it can make us feel alone, unsupported, and uncentered. So it's especially important for those who are starting out in their teaching careers, who this event is built with in mind, to know that they're not alone, that indeed at CUNY they're part of a vast community of educators who care deeply about this institution and its students and the communities that it serves. The Teaching and Learning Center and the partner programs here at the Graduate Center that we collaborate, including the Office of Career Planning and Professional Development, the Graduate Center's digital initiatives, the Futures Initiative, the Graduate Center Library, the Early Research Initiative, the ITP program. We've all taken steps this year to broaden and connect what's a truly impressive network of support available to Graduate Center students, both at the GC and on the campuses across the university. And this year, perhaps more than any I've experienced before, those networks of support have been so necessary. It's been an exhausting year, I think, for all of us, and yet CUNY's faculty and CUNY students keep showing up to do their work. I've been heartened repeatedly by the commitment of my colleagues to do their work, to do their teaching, to do their research, to advise their students as well as they possibly can amidst what feels like daily trauma wrought by our politics. I've been inspired by the activism and sense of community among Graduate Center students, many of whom reached out to volunteer their time to cover the courses of colleagues who might have been delayed a return to New York at the start of classes by the executive order. I've been buoyed by the work of organizations like Citizenship Now, which fights for the most vulnerable members of our community and inspires us to commit and recommit to our work. So we're lucky to be in an institution where this work is not only valued, but where this work defines us. This event, Teach CUNY Day, provides a cross-section of the thinking about teaching and learning at this university. The conversations you'll have today extend questions that we've been fortunate to explore at the Teaching and Learning Center all year. Who are our students? What challenges do they face? What strengths and perspectives do they bring to our classrooms? How can we best foster their growth and their connection to our disciplines? Asking these questions and carrying them with us through our work is absolutely necessary if we want to be effective educators. And the role of a teaching center isn't necessarily to answer these questions for members of its community, but rather to foster the dialogue and the sense of community where these questions are valued and made integral to how we conceive of our teaching. And good teaching comes from reflective practice, and our work at the TLC this past year has intended to create spaces that foster that reflection. We've launched a grant program that supported the work of more than a dozen Graduate Center student instructors who are integrating innovative methods into their teaching. A few of them will be facilitating workshops today. We've run 24 workshops on a variety of topics. We launched an open teaching initiative that created opportunities for Graduate Center student instructors to visit each other's courses and then to reflect on what they've learned by doing so. We launched focused inquiry groups, bringing together students to talk about teaching as an international student, developing a socially conscious pedagogy, and student data and open digital pedagogy. And we launched Visible Pedagogy, a weblog about teaching and learning at CUNY, where GC student instructors and faculty colleagues from across the CUNY system have vibrant conversations about a range of approaches to classroom instruction. So today, we're happy to launch two new initiatives. One is the Teach CUNY handbook, which you all got a print copy of when you came in. This has been compiled and written by the staff of the Teaching and Learning Center and provides a primer to teaching in CUNY's classrooms for those early in their college teaching careers. So this is not intended as a static document or even as a comprehensive primer, but rather as a series of tips and suggestions to make those first semesters in the classroom, which can be so overwhelming, to make them a little bit easier. We know there's much we've missed in crafting the handbook, so we've launched an online version on the CUNY Academic Commons that is annotatable. We welcome your feedback, and we actually require your feedback to make the next version of the handbook even stronger. We're also happy to announce that with the generous support of the Provost's office, we'll be hosting the first Teach at CUNY Summer Institute this August. This will be a comprehensive course preparation seminar for Graduate Center teaching fellows. Participants will have the opportunity to work with TLC staff and each other to build community, discuss a wide range of issues related to teaching in CUNY's undergraduate classrooms. The Institute's design and format will accommodate both the summer schedules and the varying degrees of commitment that are possible among Graduate Center students beginning their second, third, and fourth years here at the Graduate Center. So stay tuned for more information about that program. We're building it as we go, and we're very excited. But today, we're here to celebrate and connect around all this work. And again, I'm very happy to see you all and grateful that you've come. I'd like to invite GC President Chase Robinson up to say a few words now.
Thank you very much, Luke, and welcome to all of you. Let me begin with some acknowledgments, and then a plug or two for the TLC and what the Graduate Center is doing, because the TLC is part of it. And then I'll have the pleasure of introducing the University Provost. So as Luke mentioned, today's event is possible only through the support of several colleagues, both from the Graduate Center as well as from the central offices. I'd like to reiterate our gratitude to Interim Vice Chancellor Rosa for sponsoring Teach at CUNY. Sponsoring, of course, means paying for the most part. But also to Vita, not only for her presence, but also for her sponsorship of this event. It really goes to the heart of what the university is about, and I think that's a theme that I'll return to in a moment or two. Also, thanks to our keynote speakers, Maura Smale and Mariana Regalado, and Natalia Ortiz for lending their time, their expertise, and their wisdom. Matt Schoengood, Vice President for Student Affairs, has shown indomitable support and spirit for our efforts. Of course, so have the staff of the TLC itself, Elizabeth Alsop, Elizabeth Decker, and the TLC Fellows, all of whom worked really hard. Of course, our students, and like so much of what we do in the Graduate Center, is a pretty blurry line between what we do as faculty and staff and what our students do. Students are our colleagues. Last but certainly not least, Luke, his spirited, his inspired, his enlightened, and his effective leadership. Well, it's making the TLC what I'd been hoping, and I know the Provost joins me, and I know that her predecessor, Louise Lenehan, joins me. The TLC is becoming precisely what we hoped it would. The Graduate Center, it hardly needs emphasizing, is at the center of the extraordinary project that is CUNY as a whole. Our students every year, as Vita tires probably of hearing me say, teach 200,000 CUNY undergraduates every year in close to 7,000 students. I have none of the evidence to support it, but when one reflects upon the extraordinary success the university has, and in these remarks I'm alluding to the study by Ross Chetty, which appeared 6 or 8 weeks ago, the extraordinary success the university has in moving students up the socioeconomic ladder, success that, to put it politely, embarrasses many of our colleagues in other colleges and universities. I'd like to think that our students here at the Graduate Center have a role to play. As a social scientist or humanist, I'm open to the idea that it's multifactorial, but I'm going to insist that maybe part of one ingredient in the CUNY special sauce is our extraordinary, devoted group of doctoral students. In 2 years, and here I'm turning to a little bit of acknowledgement of what the TLC has achieved. In just 2 years, the center has emerged really as an essential resource, not just in responding to the needs of GC students, but also in enhancing the intellectual life of CUNY as a whole. I think the vibrancy is on full display at Visible Pedagogy, the TLC's teaching and learning blog, and of course in classrooms across the 5 boroughs. It's defined by genuinely unique support and mentoring for students, a dynamic that sets, I think, this institution and the TLC apart. This hands-on approach that it has is a hallmark of the TLC, but also our Office of Career Planning and Professional Development, so ably led, and the Early Research Initiative, the GC Digital Initiatives, the Futures Initiative, a whole, how should I put it, portfolio of activities that we've been undertaking the last 3 or 4 years, and I think which are serving our students and the university very, very well. The Office of Career Planning and Professional Development under Jenny Furlong's leadership has really become, like the TLC, a university-wide resource. So, it is a great privilege for me to introduce Executive Vice Chancellor Vita Rabinowitz, who began serving in her current role in July of 2015, although it probably feels like 20 years by now. For nearly a decade prior, Dr. Rabinowitz, Vita, has served, she'd served as Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Hunter College, where she was a dedicated faculty member for her entire academic career. In addition to teaching and mentoring thousands of students over the course of her 37 years at Hunter, she held a variety of other administrative positions, including chairperson of the Department of Psychology, acting associate provost, and acting provost. Vita has been the recipient of major NSF grants, including one that established Hunter's Gender Equity Project, which sought to advance women faculty in the natural and social sciences. As provost, she also received an NSF award to strengthen the many STEM enrichment programs at Hunter College and to launch the school's undergraduate research initiative. Closer to home, Vita's been a member of our doctoral program in psychology since 1978, serving as acting program head of the social personality doctoral subprogram. The range of her scholarly interests is wide and includes the study of women and achievement, methodological issues in the study of gender, memory, and coping with adverse outcomes. Her textbook on the psychology of women, Engendering Psychology, Women and Gender Revisited, is in its 2nd edition. Please do join me in welcoming Executive Vice Chancellor Vita Rabinowitz, and do enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Chase. Good morning and welcome, colleagues. I am truly delighted to be here today to kick off the Teach at CUNY event. As President Robinson just stated, I have been teaching at CUNY for, my goodness, since 1978, not for the past 10 years so much, but for a very long time. CUNY's the only place I've ever taught, the only place I wanted to teach, and part of an institution that I have loved and been privileged to serve for almost 39 years. And for 37 of those years, as Chase said, I was on a campus, Hunter College. From assistant professor to chair of the department to Hunter Provost. I know what it's like to teach at CUNY. I know what it's like to hire and mentor doctoral students. First in my home department of psychology, which hired and mentored many doctoral students indeed. It's one of the largest programs at the Graduate Center, but also as provost throughout the disciplines. I was also always delighted to hire CUNY doctoral students to work on the Gender Equity Project, hired over a dozen, and Hunter's robust undergraduate research initiative, among others. Some of those CUNY doctoral students are now CUNY professors, a great example of how CUNY grows its own, an initiative I hope to increase in my time in the central office. CUNY students from community college through doctoral study are special. They have talent and drive, sure, but they also have the heart and the grit and the commitment to social justice, to the public interest and the public good, to an outsized degree. That culminates with you, our doctoral students, the most academically talented and academically ambitious of all students. You are the professoriate of tomorrow. You're the national and local leaders in government, education, in industry, and the community. Whatever you end up doing, though, you'll be better off for having the experience of teaching and teaching diverse students. I know as a psychologist as well as a teacher that you learn your discipline, you understand it in a new way when you teach it. The ones who profit most from your teaching will surely be you in a sense. But you'll also learn how people learn, what motivates and engages them, what barriers to understanding or performance students face, and how you help people overcome those barriers. There is not a profession, a role, a calling that you'll play in your life that won't profit from this experience. If you haven't met them already, you're going to fall in love with our undergraduates as much as I did. Teaching at CUNY is incredibly enriching and gratifying. You won't wonder why you're getting up in the morning. You probably know by now our students claim 216 different ancestries. They speak 189 different languages. More than 40% are the first generation in their families to attend college. And almost 40% come from households who report an annual income of less than $20,000 a year. That in New York City. Many are adult learners with great personal responsibilities and years of experience in worlds far away from college. We are terrifically proud of our access mission in CUNY. And our new strategic framework calls for us to do more and to do better to serve all the people of New York, including poor students, disabled students, underprepared students, working adults, immigrants, you name it. That's what we were built to do. But what all this means is teaching at CUNY is not easy. Finding ways of reaching, engaging, educating, and graduating diverse groups of students never is. Teaching in commuter settings is itself challenging. And while CUNY has dorms and will have more dorms soon, CUNY remains largely a commuter system. All of these reasons compelled President Robinson, Chase, my friend, to enact a vision to create this Teaching Learning Center. And Chase, I am enormously grateful that you did this. To invest in you as teachers, as well as mentors, scholars, and leaders. It's also an investment in the academic quality of the undergraduate programs at CUNY. And that is a selfless task that the Graduate Center gladly takes on. I'm here today because I wanted to signal my support both for the quality of the undergraduate classes you teach and for the quality and comprehensiveness of your education as future professionals, future professors. I also want to thank Chase and Joy Connolly, Provost Connolly, for making the graduate school in this way an even greater university-wide asset, because that's what the Graduate Center is, make no mistake. It is not simply the doctoral granting institution of CUNY. It is a university-wide asset. Again, I want to thank the Graduate Center for hosting us and providing this wonderful venue. I want to thank Interim Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, Chris Rosa, our remarkable Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, and his office for sponsoring this event and for collaborating so closely with academic affairs and with my office. Today's program is just one example. I want to thank Dr. Luke Waltzer, who I just met today, and I see now why he got this position, and the staff of CUNY's, of the Graduate Center's Teaching and Learning Center for all that you do and for organizing today's program and the upcoming Summer Institute, which is incredibly exciting. Today's program is exciting. I'm very grateful to today's speakers for taking the time to share their wisdom and experience. Dr. Maura Smale of New York City Tech, Dr. Mariana Regalado of Brooklyn College, as well as Natalia Ortiz, a doctoral candidate in urban education, a wonderful program from which many of the people who now work in my office have come. There's also an impressive lineup of workshops that will delve into a wide range of topics. A number of sessions center on the theme of accessibility, and many offer important strategies for making CUNY's classroom and curricula and resources more broadly available to as many students as possible. Above all, though, I want to thank the doctoral students who are here today. Thank you for your contributions at every CUNY institution across this city, both as scholars and as teachers and mentors. Please know that you are a part of the continuous thread that runs from pre-K in this city all the way through doctoral, postdoctoral, and professorial ranks. You're what makes New York City work. In closing, I just want to say this. I know for many of you, your teaching is part of what you do in order to make ends meet. And indeed, teaching is not tremendously remunerative. Please don't think for a minute that your teaching is not important to our students. You teach, as President Robinson said, thousands of courses across this university every year. In many cases, your classes are a first point of contact for our students as they begin their college careers. So you're crucial ambassadors to them. You're crucial ambassadors of their institutions. You're crucial ambassadors of your disciplines. I loved teaching Intro to Psych, even though, there were at Hunter, 400 students, a huge enterprise to run, teaching assistants, proctors, graders, all of it. But I loved being the first person to introduce them to Freud and Skinner and Piaget, to introduce them to theories like cognitive dissonance. You could see at that time, when I taught that course, students didn't have, electronic devices, but whoever they were talking to or however they were sleeping, they would wake up for those things. And it's a tremendously heady experience. You also, as the teachers of so many introductory and gateway courses, you show them what college-level work looks like and what college-level expectations look like. It is a heady experience. It's immensely challenging. You will need help. You will need a community. We don't talk enough about our teaching with each other, not at any level. We don't talk enough about curricula. We don't talk enough about pedagogy. We don't talk enough about the challenges and rewards of teaching. Teaching is something we do. As Luke said in his opening remarks, it's too often invisible, too often undervalued. But we value you. But just as important as you are to our students, you are our students, and you are important to us. So I will say to you today what I said to every doctoral student we hired in the psychology department. We care about your careers. As important as teaching is, your job, your first job, is to get a first-class education in this institution, the graduate school, to do your research, to finish, to meet your marks, get your degrees. Nothing should interfere with that. And if you find the teaching is interfering with your progress, we want to know because we want to intervene. Again, we care about you as scholars and professionals, and learning to teach efficiently as well as effectively is something that I think is important. So today is a chance to connect and talk about teaching, which is again, a wonderful undervalued event. So by all means, reach out, connect, share ideas, think about collaborating, enjoy the day, and know how much we appreciate what you do. Thank you, colleagues.